Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Doctor. It is 10 o'clock at night here, and we are recording sort of our final videos for the weekend so that you guys can still get some videos while we are in the middle of moving. And tonight, we just finished up our stream. It's Thursday night right now. There were lots of questions about Warrior of Light. There were lots of questions about the upcoming Warmech Raid. And I kind of wanted to have just like a casual conversation of what we might be seeing next week, some things about Warmech that I'm thinking about, some things about Warrior of Light that I'm thinking about, and kind of bringing it together for you. The first thing that I want to say, though, just to address some misinformation that I've been seeing circulating in the community, there's been a lot of talk about Stop Blade from Warrior of Light affecting the Warmech machine, and that is actually not true. If you go to warthevisioncalc.com, you'll actually see that while Warmech is vulnerable to time adjustment techniques like slow, he is not going to be vulnerable to stop. He actually has a 999% resistance to stop, so you're not going to be able to actually use Stop Blade in the upcoming Warmech Raid. Now, along with that, there was a lot more general of a conversation about Warmech, and about Warrior of Light, and Stop Blade as well. And there's lots of questions talking about Warrior of Light and maxing his faith, and whether or not you should be gearing to use Stop Blade. I saw a classic Reddit post that talked about different abilities to grab and not to grab because of the auto ability function. And one of the couple abilities that I recommended not grabbing was some of the higher level sword slashing techniques from Warrior of Light, because they wanted you to have Warrior of Light use Stop Blade in auto PvP like Arena or in Guild Battle, and how that could be a game changer. And I absolutely believe that could be a game changer. However, I think it's important that you have the right build in order to utilize that. So when I'm thinking about a Warrior of Light using Stop Blade, you're going to need to max out his faith, right? And the moment you max out his faith, he's going to be a little bit more vulnerable to magic. He is not necessarily a magic tank like Rain is anyway, but if you're subbing Spellblade anyway for Stop Blade, you are going to have access to some magic resistant ability options regardless. However, the other reason I would really say to max out Warrior of Light's faith is if you're going to be running Ayaka, right? Having a maxed out faith will not only help Warrior of Light with Stop Blade, but it will also help with full life from Ayaka, or potentially another full life unit in the future. And I think if you're going to go the max faith Warrior of Light build, if you're going to go for capitalizing on Stop Blade, I think you really need to make sure you are set up correctly. Make sure you potentially have an Ayaka paired with him, and make sure you really set your team up to balance. I think that's one way to pursue Warrior of Light, and kudos to you guys that are doing that setup. Personally, I don't have an Ayaka, so you're not going to see my Warrior of Light set up that way. The way that I'm looking at setting up my Warrior of Light is going to be with low faith, filling in that Omni Tank role, and I'm going to make him more of an attacker. But while I talked about subbing Dragoon on him and kind of going with a triple brawler comp, I do kind of want to come back just a little bit to how do I say this? I want to come back to the idea of Warrior of Light and stop resistance. And I want to talk about stop resistance for a minute, because as much as I want to kind of go on and talk about like my Dragoon Warrior of Light build and the upcoming raid, I want to talk about stop resistance in general, because we are probably going to be seeing it at Arena. So when I'm thinking about stop resistance, and when I'm thinking about maybe how to defend yourself against this, one of the first things that we were talking about in the Discord that I was in, if you guys aren't familiar, I was in the Sector 7 Slums or Mako's Discord when we were talking about it, was that the only ability that's going to stop from landing on your characters is going to be null CT effect, and that's going to stop slow, quick, haste, and it's also going to stop things like stop from landing on your characters. If you do something like raise debuff resistances, the theory was that it's not going to affect the stop resistance, and I don't have a full sheet in front of me. I'm just kind of casually talking right now about it. This is just kind of me shooting the shit and just kind of talking about things I've overheard and things that I think you might want to be thinking about. So in my composition right now that I'm running Miranda in, I'm looking at maybe it's worthwhile to put Null CT on her, even though she is sub time mage, and potentially using that Null CT as a way to sort of mitigate Warrior of Light Stop Blade if I do end up encountering it, or if my own Warrior of Light might end up encountering another Warrior of Light with Stop Blade. Those are kind of the things that I'm thinking about right now in terms of Stop Blade. Let's talk about the raid, though. Let's talk about specifically the Warmech raid that's supposed to come out next week, and we'll talk about some of the things on stream that we went over. I talked to Bismarck earlier this week, and he let me know that in the upcoming month, it is going to be Killfay shards that are the reward, and there's a lot of conversation about Killfay coming out next week, and it doesn't quite make sense for me for Killfay to come out the week immediately after Warrior of Light, and we might find ourselves in a situation where we're getting shards for Killfay when we don't actually have Killfay as a pullable unit yet. Very similar to what happened when Lucia came out in Global, where we were getting monthly Lucia shards and we weren't able to pull Lucia yet. I'm thinking we're probably going to see that. There is some diehards in the community right now that are saying like, no, they're going to follow JP exactly, and Killfay is going to come out next week, and you're all going to be hurting and crying for it, and I don't see that happening. Some other people are saying that the Warmech raid is going to get delayed an extra week, and it's going to come out with Killfay in a week and a half. There's so many rumors flying around right now about it. Personally, I'm just going to weigh in myself. I think we're probably going to see Warmech this coming week, and I think we're going to see Killfay in 2 weeks, and I think that's just... it's the way they've been doing it. They've been releasing new units every 2 weeks, and I imagine they will continue to do that. The Warmech raid in particular, when I talk to people about it, a lot of people are talking about Ramza. If you guys didn't know, you can't actually use Steal Time in the upcoming Warmech raid, which is going to cause problems when you're raiding. From what I can tell in the limited research that I've done, because I haven't done a full breakdown, you can expect that once I move into my new place and I can actually like pull all the information and look at it. From the information that I've seen and that I understand, though, there's a couple things to consider. And the first thing to consider is that the Warmech has ads with him. And when I was perusing Ultima, one of the guides that was talking about Warmech talked about how Warmech's ads can be pretty much ignored until you get to the upper levels of the raid. So once you get to that upper echelon of raid levels, the ads are going to start casting blind on your characters, and that's really just going to restrain you, and it's worth it just to kill them. I imagine... oh, Whimsy Shop. It always happens when I'm making a video. I imagine we're probably going to see the ads not getting killed, or kill ads, or something like that. I'm sure someone's going to figure out a 2-turn kill solution. The other situation that I heard in higher level tiers of the raid is that the breaker ability from Warmech, so the ability that lowers your defense and spirit by 30 at the upper echelon tiers, is actually going to cause it so that if you have light element characters like Ramza, you're actually going to get 2-shot and die from it. So how do you mitigate that? How do you plan to take care of that? And when I'm looking at stuff like this, and I'm thinking about Warrior of Light that just came out, I think you're actually going to see Warrior of Light is very viable for this raid in the same way that Venera was pretty viable. So Warrior of Light is essentially going to take the place of your Steal Time unit, I would imagine. And you're going to need some units that are going to have access to slow, because the Warmech is vulnerable to slow. But I really think Warrior of Light is going to go in, and if you didn't know, Warrior of Light... did I say Warrior of Mech? I might have said Warrior of Mech. Warrior of Light does have a 3-hit limit burst attack, and that's going to be very similar to the chain finisher of Venera, except that Warrior of Light's going to be able to have significantly more attack, particularly with Nagarok on him, and you're going to be able to really capitalize on that damage more. So what are you doing to build up that AP? What are you doing to sort of support your team? So you could be popping Brave Presence in order to get hate so that your team members don't die, which could be absolutely potentially possible. You could be popping, you know, you'll probably be with another partner who's able to cast slow, or I believe it's Congo that also adds slow. I'm not 100% sure on that. I know people were talking a lot about Congo. Might be that Congo has Machine Killer. You know what? I'm right here. Let's go ahead and look it up. Let's go find Sir Rob. You think I would know, because my Sir O uses Congo all the time. Yeah, Congo has Machine Killer, and then Oborizuki is the one that has slow. I knew one of them added slow and one of them added Machine Killer. So Oborizuki is the 50% chance of added effect slow. Make sure your Sir Robs and your Samurais have max faith to increase the chance of landing that. And Congo is going to have Machine Killer on it, which you're going to be wanting to pop for chains. And if I were you, I would bring a Warrior of Light. That's what I'm planning to bring on the raid. And I'm going to try and keep my Warrior of Light alive so that the other people don't die. I think a lot of people are going to be bringing Ramzas, which will be successful. And I'll be looking to chain finish with my Warrior of Light. And I don't quite know how many hits it's going to take or how the chains are going to build up with slow. It'll be really interesting to see how people generate and use their AP in the upcoming fight. I imagine what it'll probably be is you'll want to do AP generation for like 2 turns, and then you will build the chain and then chain cap it potentially, depending on how potent this slow is. So we'll have to see. You'll have to kind of experiment. Personally, I'm planning on just running the raid and clearing within 2 turns. I think that's going to be the best way to do it, particularly since I only really have Warrior of Light as my light slashing unit, and he's likely not going to be fully maxed out yet. Other than that, not quite sure. One thing I would also say is probably potentially very powerful is Agility Break, if we do have it. I think we can probably proc both Agility Break and Slow. And it would be interesting to see how that works, particularly at the higher levels of the Warmech Raid. And overall, guys, that's kind of my quick thoughts on it. Again, sorry we're not fully set up in detailed information mode, but I am literally doing this before I break my computer apart and we move. So thank you so much, you guys. I will have more detailed information on Monday when the news day comes out and when we are fully settled in our new house. If you are looking to support me, go to dig.gs/coins or dig.gs/offer, and any Amazon coins you buy for your Visior, 10% does come back to me to support me. And you guys, have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.